You can be a better investor. Find out how right now. Does the NASDAQ look cheap? The bulls say now's the time to buy. But others say the NASDAQ could drop all the way to 1,000. Don't scoff at the idea before we give you the stock smarts. And Uncle Junior, a mob boss on The Sopranos, but he is no godfather when it comes to the stock market. Is it ever too late to get started? We have the answers in the Power Plan. Plus, we face off over the best Fidelity fund and answer your money mail. We start cashing in 2 minutes. Fox News Live, I'm Derry Alexander. The president is promising to enable the disabled. During his weekly radio address, Mr. Bush praised the Americans with Disabilities Act signed by his father for giving disabled people more freedom.
As people with disabilities find more opportunities to use their gifts and talents, we also become a stronger, more productive nation. Some barriers remain, however, and as long as they stand, our work is unfinished.
The president is proposing a new freedom initiative, which he says will make the everyday lives of the disabled even easier. Meanwhile, Democrats are complaining that President Bush's plan for patients' rights would leave some people unprotected. Under the Bush proposal, employers would only be subject to federal laws governing contract disputes. Democrats say that could create a shield for companies conspiring to deny health coverage to their workers. Negotiators for both parties will spend the weekend analyzing Bush's plan. The operation to raise the sunken Russian submarine Kursk is ready to get underway. Organizers say their safety review is complete, insisting the risk of a nuclear leak is minimal. The lifting operation is set to begin very soon, depending on weather conditions. The Kursk sank last August, killing all 118 crew members. And China's first ever world title boxing match has been dealt a knockout blow. Heavyweight champ John Ruiz was set to face former champ Evander Holyfield, but Ruiz dropped out saying he has a stiff neck. And a robotic space mission is set to collect tiny pieces of the sun carried by the solar wind and return them to Earth. If all goes well, Genesis will launch from Cape Canaveral on Monday, collect solar stardust from deep space, and return in 2004. Our next update is at the top of the hour. Now stay tuned for our business. Hi everyone, I'm Terry Keenan. Welcome to Cashin In. The best way to win in this market is with Stock Smarts. Here to give them to us, Cisneros Group Senior Managing Director Hillary Kramer, Solomon Brothers Fund Manager Michael Kagan, and in Chicago, Capitalist Pig Asset Management Portfolio Manager Jonathan Honig. And welcome to you all. Up first, NASDAQ 1,000. Since the index topped 5,000 16 months ago, we are averaging a loss of about 200 points a month. At that rate, we're looking at NASDAQ 1,000 by December. Crazy, or could it actually happen? Hillary?
NASDAQ 1,000? Absolutely. It's possible. They should call it NASDAQ because we have to duck all the catastrophes being thrown at it. A major catastrophe that is so important to our system is that we have $250 billion of telecom debt that's really brought down the NASDAQ and will continue to do so. It's not just telecom, it's the equipment makers. That's why we have problems with Lucent, Cisco, Nortel, JDS Uniphase. So that catastrophe has to work its way through, especially in the light of we have consumer confidence eroding, we have global recession, and we have specific problems in these emerging markets.
Mike, it would certainly be painful. Is it plausible in your opinion?
I think it's too extreme. I think the only way you can get there is either through a disaster or through boredom. I think, a lot of the good quality companies right now are in valuation or are cheap enough to make valuation cases. Sun Microsystems, which I own as an example, it's close to its 10-year average low price-to-sales ratio. Fundamentals seem to be basing out. They've got a product transition that hurt them before that's helping them now. Inventories are gone. The big quality companies, I think they've probably seen the worst, and they go forward from here.
So guys, just let me ask you a question. Why does it have to be either yes or no? Will the NASDAQ hit 100? I mean, is the NASDAQ 1,000? Right.
Don't scare us anymore than we already are.
I mean, is the NASDAQ going to fall or is it going to rally? Couldn't it be both? I'm from the school that says most likely we're setting up for a pretty extreme short-term rally. I mean, let's not forget the NASDAQ has gotten absolutely annihilated. A lot of the stocks, as you guys mentioned, are sitting near their 52-week lows. I think we could see 20 or 30% from the upside from here. That being said, I also think that the market could go back and revisit the lows. It could do both. at the end of the day, Terry, you know, the market's not in any big hurry to give us a show. So I think most likely in the short term we're headed higher, but over the longer term, you got to be cautious.
So, Jonathan, 3,000 before 1,000?
I think certainly 2,400 before 1,000.
Okay, let's hope so. You know, but Hillary, in order to get to 1,000, given the way that the NASDAQ is put together, that means a lot of these stocks, big names, would have to go down 50%. Cisco down to, say, 9, Intel down to 15. You really think that could happen?
Absolutely. There's no catalyst. There's no demand. We have overcapacity. That was my point, really, with the telecom. We've overbuilt, and the demand
Hillary,
isn't there.
Isn't that news out? I mean, don't we know that? We got news from JD.
The news is out, but now the reality has to come to pass, and that's what we're going to see in the coming quarters.
See, I think the issue about the capacity is there's certainly sectors that have overcapacity. Telecom equipment has overcapacity, but the handset seems to be basing out and improving on a sequential basis. The PC is the same way. There are too many big sectors that have already seen their worst to see a half from here.
Jonathan, you're actually more worried about the Dow than the NASDAQ, right?
Yeah, I think all things being equal, Terry, you know, let's not forget the Dow is dominated by two very large price stocks. The Dow is price weighted, not market cap weighted, and IBM and 3M have an inordinately large impact on the Dow. I'm actually more cautious on the Dow right now than the NASDAQ, but, you know, the point is well taken. I think a good point to bring up, however, is that the NASDAQ, a lot of people own these stocks, but the NASDAQ is not the market, and a lot of small and mid-capitalization stocks are busting out the new 52-week highs, in some cases new all-time highs, while the large cap still lingers.
Okay, well, that brings us to our mad money stocks. They're for all you risk takers, stocks that could go up big or come down hard. Where's your mad money going, Hillary?
I would put my money in BEA Systems.
Despite what you just said about the NASDAQ?
Yes, absolutely, because there's still opportunity there. BEA Systems, I see a 400% plus increase in the stock price in the next 18 to 24 months. BEA System makes software that puts all companies onto the internet, supply side all the way to bringing customers on for sales. BEA Systems was a $90 stock. It's now a $20 stock, and they are still out there serving all these companies that have to cut costs, reduce overhead, and create efficiencies.
Michael, this stock had such a cult following. Every week people were talking about the bees, you know, the bees this, the bees that. Now it's a $20 stock, as she said, you know, down about 80%.
Well, Hillary, I own it and I love it.
You do?
And actually, I'm jealous I didn't pick that name.
Where do you own it from, Michael? That's my question. Where do you own it from? And the stock's not too far from its 52-week low.
I own it in the 30s, and I've been buying it down here. But you know what I like about the stock is that it looks like it's an operating system type company that could dominate its market. The size of the market is as big as Oracle. You'll get there over the next 7 to 10 years, and you find out this year. So if we find out this year, you're going to get paid and paid in the next 12 months.
Quickly, Jonathan, you do like it?
Terry, all these fundamental people, they're really, you know, frankly messing up the show between you and me. I'm a technician. I watch the charts, and BAA Systems at this point is what we call a falling knife. I'm not going to catch it.
Okay, well, I have one comment on that. They have positive EPS, 25 cents this year we're going to see, and we're going to see 40 cents next year. They have 10,000 customers, and the majority is a Fortune 500 global.
Jonathan, put your money where your mouth
Michael's
is.
lost money on the stock, so, you know, all things being equal, I guess it's a draw. Where's my mad money going, Terry? It's going towards what's working. You know, that's what, in my experience, investing and trading is often a game of. You know, what's working now, and the truth is that small caps aren't just outperforming the broad market. They are kicking butt in their own right. Over the last year, small capitalization stocks, particularly the value ones, up, you know, over 20%. And I like IWN. This is an exchange-traded fund. It's just like buying an index of the value-oriented stocks, the cheapest stocks of the Russell 2000. Heck, everyone's very, you know, involved with the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ these days. The Russell 2000 is an index of small-cap stocks. I think their outperformance is likely to continue.
You guys
My
like
problem with with your call, Jonathan, is I don't think that the small cap value stocks are necessarily values anymore. They've had such a good run. Are they really cheap?
Hillary?
Jonathan, I don't think this is mad money. I think we're going to see a nice solid investment, 10 to 16% return, but it's not mad money. We're not going to see a home run.
You didn't see his mad money pick last week. He was into a bond fund, so this is aggressive for Jonathan.
It's all about bucks, kid, as Gecko would say.
All right, Michael, what's your mad money pick?
Okay, it's Cummins engine. It's the large heavy-duty truck engine producer. The reason you want to buy it is you're looking for, in this market, cyclical companies that are cheap with improving fundamentals. Very hard to find. First, improving fundamentals. Heavy truck sales cratered 24 months ago. They're now beginning to come out. 2 weeks ago, PACCAR came out and actually raised truck production. Last week, Cummins came out, beat numbers, beat cash flow, And, okay, finally cheap. It's trading at its 10-year average low price of sales. I think it's a screamer. You could get a double out of it.
Jonathan, you like it?
Yeah, you know, here, all things being equal, this isn't a bad stock. I would consider buying it at these levels. It's not first on my list, but Cummins looks strong.
Hillary?
I would not buy Cummins. The trucking industry, it's at an all-time depression. There were 3,600 bankruptcies last year. The first quarter alone, 1,100. PACCAR and Freightliner, Cummins' biggest customers, they are still cutting production, and there's a problem with 100,000 used trucks out there in the market and a 50% decline in prices. I don't see it as a home run.
Okay, that's what makes a market. Thanks, you guys. That's a wrap for Stock Smarts. Great information. Lots more to come. Up next, Fidelity. It is the world's largest mutual fund family, and chances are your family's money is in at least one of its funds. So what is the best Fidelity fund to own? That's coming up. But first, a Cashin In quiz. DreamWorks' hit movie Shrek debuted just 10 weeks ago, but it's already among the top 20 grossing films of all time. How much has it taken in at the box office so far? $100 million, $150, $200 million, or $250 million? The answer when we return.
People are so in love with their Camrys, they've made it the #1 selling car in America for the 4th straight year, with more repeat buyers than any other car.
You know, when you apply for a loan in today's economy, it's nice to have the confidence that your credit is good, especially when you need a new home, car, or other essential. But sometimes inaccuracies do appear in your credit report, and that's why it's so important to stay on top of your credit by checking your report from time to time. Now it's easy and it's free. To get a free copy of your credit report, simply log on to freecreditreport.com. Act now. Get your free credit report by logging on to freecreditreport.com today.
Wait.
Why?
My purse is gone.
It's got to be yours.
No, it's not here. It's my wallet in it. It's your wallet in it.
Waiter.
Oh, I can't believe it. It's gone. All our vacation money is in there. See it there? Our vacation is ruined.
Anyone could have it now.
It's a white purse. It's about like this.
White?
It's got a gold chain. All that cash. It was $700.
American Express travelers' checks. Don't leave home without them.
1 part tulip. 2 parts French vanilla. Add 1 whitewash shutter. Mix 1 quart lazy afternoon. Stir in 1 cup sunshine. And a pinch of fresh sand. Serves 1 or a family of 6. Introducing Swedish Home by Ethan Allen. All the ingredients you need to make an elegantly simple home.
So how much has Shrek pulled in at the box office so far? The answer D, $250 million. That puts it at number 15 on the list of all-time box office sales, right behind Jaws, released 25 years ago. We'll find out if Planet of the Apes does as well this weekend. Time now for our mutual fund face-off. And here to do battle over their favorite Fidelity fund, Smart Money reporter Dagan McDowell and the founder of MaxFunds.com, Jonas Max Ferris. Now, Dagan likes the Fidelity Dividend Growth Fund best. Jonas is betting on the firm's Export and Multinational Fund. They are both in the red so far this year. Both funds require the same minimum investment of $2,500. Jonas's Export and Multinational Fund is a little bit cheaper to own. So, Dagan, what makes your fund the best among the hundreds of Fidelity funds out there?
Well, Fidelity is known for turning out superstar fund managers like Peter Lynch. And if you want to invest with the next one, you should check out the Fidelity Dividend Growth Fund. It's run by Charles Mangum. He's been the manager for more than 4 years, and he's produced spectacular returns for investors.
And $14 billion has come in the fund because of it. Is that a problem?
Well, Jonas, this fund has been about this size for a few years now, and the manager's shown he knows how to maneuver a fund of this size. It shouldn't be a problem. Instead, if you want to look at numbers, you should be looking at this fund's returns. This large cap fund's 1-, 3-, and 5-year returns all beat the S&P 500.
Another number that's kind of weird is the dividend yield, because it says dividend in the name, but the dividend yield is less than 1%. It sounds like a "Where's the beef" commercial. Where's the dividend?
Well, Jonas, this fund does own some dividend-paying stocks like Philip Morris, but if rather than getting hung up on the name, you should look at this fund's returns, which are excellent if you're thinking about buying it.
Yeah, Dagan, I noticed that you and Jonathan, your funds share some of the same top stocks, including Cardinal Health and Bristol Myers, and they aren't high dividend stocks.
There are some similarities in the fund's top 10 holdings, that's for certain. But that's to be expected with a large fund company like Fidelity, and you've got two large cap funds. That's normal.
Okay, Jonas, tell us why yours is better than Dagan's.
Yeah, and I'll get hung up in the name of my fund because it's the Fidelity Export Multinational Fund, which is kind of a mouthful, but what it means is they're concentrated on companies that either export, a lot of their sales come from exports to other countries, like Bristol Myers does 40% of exports to other countries, or they're multinational companies like AIG that are all over the world. They've got offices all over.
But
interesting
Jonas,
thing about that, yes, Dagan?
But Jonas, one thing you absolutely got to point out about this fund, it's had 4 different managers in less than 7 years. Since you brought up the accuracy of a fund's name, shouldn't yours be called the Fidelity Revolving Door Fund?
Oh. Interesting. Well, the funny thing, even though it's had 4 managers, which usually is a bad thing, is it's beaten your fund with the 1 manager, and I think they've done a pretty good job, even though they've been shuffling managers more than the stocks, and that is kind of odd, but they pulled it off, so I wouldn't, and I wouldn't really invest in Fidelity if you're concerned about that, because most funds there have a high turnover.
Shareholders are lucky they've gotten those returns. That you should be concerned about manager turnover in the future.
All right, that's going to do it. That's the last shot, Dagan. That's our mutual fund face-off for this week. Up next, bada bing. Uncle Junior from The Sopranos. He handles his money about as well as he handles the FBI on the show. In other words, he needs to play catch-up investing. We will help him and you with a power plan. But first, another Cashin In quiz. Shopping for a home, expect to pay about $176,000. That's the national average, but that won't go far in San Francisco, the most expensive city for home buyers. What's the average price there? $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, or $600,000? The answer when Cashin In returns.
Need fast-itch relief from insect bites and poison ivy? Trust the power of Cortisone 10 Plus with vitamins plus aloe. Among these, it's the only one with the medicine doctors recommend most. Try Cortisone 10 Plus. What are you itching for?
Whoa, Kitty! Someone refill that Glade plug-in.
For lasting freshness, don't forget to refill your Glade plug-ins.
Plug it in, plug it in.
I thought dating again would be tough.
He's cute. Is he younger than me?
Maybe getting rid of my gray hair was just what I needed.
Just for men. More than a hair color, it's a hair rejuvenator. Gray hair is shampooed away in 5 easy minutes. Vitamin Enriched Just for Men brings back a thicker, healthier, natural look.
I wonder how I did tonight.
Would you like to come in?
Just for Men, the Rejuvenator.
There's a simpler way to save for the things you want. The Orange Savings Account from ING Direct. Everyone gets the same high 4.4% rate. With no minimums, no fees, and without changing banks. It's the simple way to make the most of your money. Call 1-800-ING Direct for great rates on savings, loans, and mortgages. 1-800-ING Direct.
Are you one of the millions of American males who would like increased sexual energy? If you've been considering Viagra as a solution, consider something different. All-natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various ingredients of Enerx enhance sexual energy, increasing desire, performance, and satisfaction. Enerx is all natural with no side effects. With Enerx, you'll feel the increased energy within minutes and with no chemicals. We're so sure you and your mate will be completely satisfied. We'll offer you a 30-day, no questions asked, full refund. Enerx stimulates sexual energy by expanding the blood vessels, causing increased blood flow to specific areas of the body. Unleash the power of Enerx now.
Call 1-800-367-7960 toll-free, and it will be delivered discreetly to your home. Get results using the safe, all-natural alternative, Enerx.
How much PC can $849 get you? More PC than we can tell you about in 30 seconds. The compact Presario 5000T. Let us build one for you. Call us direct at 1-800-336-1366 for all this, and we'll double your memory for free. A super-fast Intel Pentium 3 processor, CD-ROM, accelerated graphics, pro-quality audio system, monitor, one-touch internet access, lots of memory, plus 5 color choices, red, green, blue, purple, and orange, and that's just for starters. Hey, do I have time to mention the...
So what is the average cost to buy a home in San Francisco? The answer is C, $500,000. Too rich for your blood? Try Des Moines, Iowa. The cheapest place to put down roots. A house there will cost you just $107,000. Now for something you should never invest without, a power plan. Hillary Kramer and Jonas Ferris are back to do a favor for Uncle Junior. He is used to ordering hits, and he is hoping for one with his new CD. The trouble is, soprano star Dominic Chianese, a.k.a. Uncle Junior, spent so much time making money as an actor, he has never learned how to make that money work for him. And he could use some advice.
I'm an actor. You know, you just never seem to accumulate too much money when you're an actor. That's an important thing to remember, I think, for young people. I have to learn how to invest the money that I'm making now, you know. And that's what I need to know. Mutual funds, I understand, is one way of doing it, correct? Yeah, I know I sound kind of ignorant about the market because, to tell the truth, I am ignorant about the market.
Well, he is off to a late start, but there is no time like now. Jonas, some advice for Dominic. You know, it's kind of like dieting. A lot of people think if they wait too long, why even bother?
Yeah.
So give him some ideas.
This is not an uncommon concern. I mean, nothing beats a long-term investing savings plan, but you can't make up for it all at once if you miss the boat. And don't increase the risk to try to solve your problems later. What really matters is not how badly you want to get rich quick, is how, you know, when you need to stop, you know, when you stop earning income and when you need to start drawing off your investments. What I would say, if he still has earnings, you want to go with a fairly conservative, not totally an income fund like the Dodge and Cox Balance Fund, which is conservative, has a little stock, has a little bond. And then when you're retired and you've got to draw down, you want to even crank up the conservativeness and go with maybe the Harbor Bond Fund, another cheap, great fund. You can live off it in your income years, and that's the way to go. Don't start buying NASDAQ 100 call options because you want it bad.
You know, Hillary, you think that even at Dominic's age, you can start with some stocks, but pick a little bit more conservatively, right? What's on your list?
Well, absolutely. The best bet for capturing upside still comes from straight equity investments. I like to look at stocks that are well diversified, defensive, but at the same time they capture trends, long-term solid trends. For example, we have an aging population, so I like Merck. Merck is producing drugs for the aging population.
It's had a tough year.
It's had a tough year, but in the pipeline they have low cholesterol drugs. They have drugs for arthritis, pain relief, depression. I also like the trend of the on-the-go culture. So Cisco Foods, as in Cisco with an S, not with a C, catastrophe, is the largest producer of, in North America of food products. It's a great way to play the fast food chains and the restaurants. I also like to look at the trend of leisure. Fortune Brands, it's perfect. Wines, spirits, golfing equipment, household products. And they have a 2.6% dividend yield, so it's a better way to play than going into fixed income.
So a little income there from that stock as well.
Exactly.
Okay, some great investment tips for Uncle Junior and for anyone getting a late start on investing. Up next, you asked, how do you know when the market hits a bottom? We will answer that, and we'll take much more of your money mail when we return. But first, this Cashin In quiz. Have you ever lost any money? Americans have misplaced a pile of it, and it's waiting to be claimed. What's the estimated cost of unclaimed assets in the U.S.? Is it $5 billion, $20 billion, $100 billion, or $200 billion? We'll tell you when Cashin In returns.
Excuse me, I lost a black carry-on. I turned around and it was completely gone.
Did you have the bag inside?
I just got off the plane. It's got a lot of cash in it.
I can't help you.
I'm on vacation. I don't...
Okay.
I have nothing. There's
nothing I can do for you until you fill out the paperwork.
It was absolutely right here.
Okay.
All my money is in this bag.
Until you file a report, I cannot help you. I need your name and a description
But
of
I'm
the
telling
bag.
you,
American Express traveler's checks don't leave home without them. Jaguar, part of the new Hertz Prestige collection. Jaguar, if it's your kind of car, Hertz is your kind of car rental company. The Hertz Prestige collection. Volvo, part of the new Hertz Prestige collection. Volvo, if it's your kind of car, Hertz is your kind of car rental company. The Hertz Prestige Collection.
When I got my cholesterol checked, it was high. Too high. So Liz and I got very careful about what we were eating. We even joined a gym. But my doctor found my cholesterol was still too high.
He's doing everything you asked. Now what?
That's when my doctor added Lipitor.
Lipitor is the #1 prescribed medication for lowering cholesterol. In clinical studies, Lipitor with diet lowered bad cholesterol 39 to 60%, total cholesterol 29 to 45%, triglycerides 19 to 37%. Once-a-day Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about muscle pain or weakness, as they may be signs of serious side effects. Call 1-888-LIPITOR.
Look at those numbers. They're way down.
Lipitor did it.
Ask your doctor what Lipitor can do for you. Lipitor, the lower numbers you're looking for.
We're looking at a live picture right now, and there's no police presence down here.
The gunman on the loose.
The chase is on.
Still this is our job, and we're going to stick with it. Lit himself on fire. Get the close-up, we can get everything we need. The people on the ground don't even know we're there.
Saturday. She's not married, they're not having a baby, and he's not dying. Why has the entertainment beat turned into the Hollywood Walk of Shame? This weekend on Fox News Watch.
So what's the estimated amount of unclaimed assets in the U.S.? The answer B, $20 billion. To find out if there's any waiting for you, check out this website, missingmoney.com. Well, you ask, we answer. It's time for your money mail. Back with the Smart Money's Dagan McDowell and the capitalist pig, Jonathan Hoenig. Up first, Richard in Texas wants to know what we'd all like to know. How do you spot a market bottom? Jonathan, what would convince you that we've put in a bottom here?
Well, first of all, Terry, important to mention that, when is the market going to bottom? That's obviously French for when's the NASDAQ going to stop going down, because we do know that a lot of stocks, the smaller caps, have done better. That being said, taking a look at the NASDAQ, one good indication, Terry, that the market has hit a bottom is a lack of public interest. People are still very interested in the stock market. So I guess, it's unfortunate to say it, but when Cashin In is canceled, then we'll know that the market's reached a bottom. Also, look for huge outflows of equity mutual funds, especially hot fund shops like Janus or other funds that specifically focus on technology stocks. When people pull all the money out of those funds they put into them, that's one indication. Generally speaking, more fear than hope. Still a lot of hope out there, and at the bottom, nobody thinks the real values are values.
But first, there will never be a bottom because Cashin In is never going to be canceled, Jonathan.
God help us.
But Jonathan, it's almost impossible for even the best professional investors to predict a market bottom or a top. Instead of worrying about trying to guess which way the market's going to go, you should decide how much of your money should be in stocks, invest it, and then just leave it there.
Okay, let's move on to Judge in Nevada. He is wondering why mortgage rates aren't following the Fed funds rate down. And Dagan, this is a question I think Alan Greenspan's probably staying up at night thinking about as well.
That's true. Mortgage rates really move based on what the bond market thinks is going to happen with the economy or what the Fed is going to do in the future. For example, last year these rates fell in anticipation of the Fed cutting short-term interest rates. This year, mortgage rates have remained fairly stable as the market's expecting an end to those Fed cuts and an eventual recovery in the economy.
Okay, let's move on to a stock question here. Roberto in New York City wants an opinion on Priceline.com, a controversial one. Jonathan?
Listen, if you haven't bought it yet, now's not the time. Low-price stocks have done real well. But in terms of long-term investment dollars, I'd steer clear of Priceline. It's a good trade, not necessarily a good investment.
All right. That's the final word, you guys. That's all the time we have for this week's Money Mail. But if you haven't heard your question, keep on watching. We will try to get to it as soon as possible. And for those of you who have new questions, send them to us at cash@foxnews.com. Feel free to send along your comments as well. And thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Cashin In. We'll see you back here next week. Have a great weekend, everybody.